Hello, Philadelphia! I'm Bruce Buffer. It's time for the Anthony Gorgano Show!
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning on a rainy Monday. We hope we start a good week for you guys. This is the Anthony Gargano Show presented by TrueMark Financial Credit Union. TrueMark.com/PHLY for the credit union difference. It's kind of a fitting day, right? We spent a whole weekend locked up with some hoops, and it was a very interesting first 4 days, chalky as we kind of felt it. And this weekend does show you something that's kind of, I think, speaks volumes to this new world of college basketball, NIL, and kind of where things are headed. It appears that the mid-major is dead. That team, George Mason, if you remember, right, the Butlers, all those teams that had really good runs over the last 20 years, the Cinderellas just can't compete anymore in an NIL transfer portal world. What we saw is the big guys, right? For the first time, only four conferences are represented in the Sweet 16, and they're the four biggest ones: the SEC, the Big Ten, the Big East, and of course the ACC. And you just have those four conferences, which kind of makes sense, right? With the portal, these teams just look to the portal to build these big schools can pay them, and they look to the kind of mid majors to fill out their roster, and they pluck the talent. So those teams that were so good back in the day because they stayed, they didn't go for the draft. Those players of the mid majors who spent 3 or 4 years together growing and were dangerous. Now, anybody who's any good is going to get plucked, and those guys that are there just aren't very good. And I think you saw that over the first weekend of this year's tournament. At some point, you can see the writing on the wall. At some point, there's going to be the NCAA tournament and then a lesser tournament for everybody else. That could be an NIT kind of like. I mean, I think that's kind of what you saw. I mean, the only big upset was St. John's going down, but they go down to Arkansas, right? An SEC school. They go down to Calipari, a big-time coach. So it's not really those mid-majors that's making any noise. It's all the big conferences that are doing their thing. Still, I thought it was a great, first 4 days. Enjoyed it. Just enjoyed basketball. I know the controversy on the Maryland buzzer beater and the walk that the kid traveled and he lifted up his pivot foot. Yeah, he did. He walked. But, calling a travel in that situation, it's not going to happen. So I know purists are yelling and screaming and kicking and screaming, but it's just not. That's not what it is. So they were never going to call that, not in that spot. I just don't see a travel in that way. Forget about the steps. He did kind of lift up his pivot foot, but that is what it is, man. That's the walk call is going by the wayside. But all in all, it was just, it was good basketball. This is a big week for us though in Philadelphia. It's opening week in the MLB. Phillies get started on Thursday against the Nationals. They made a move yesterday. They get Carlos Hernandez to fill out their bullpen. He is, he throws hard. He's a high leverage guy that is at the end of his career. Still got it up to 98 last year. So, we'll see it. Rangers hurt. He's going to start the season on the injured list with his back issues. So that's going to leave Taijuan Walker as the fifth starter. So you'll have Wheeler, Nola, Sanchez, Luzardo, who I'm very excited about, and Taijuan Walker. Walker, the way the schedule starts, he won't make his debut until Game 6. Wheeler will pitch Game 1 and Game 5 of the season, and Walker will go game 6. Their bullpen set. We'll see, because you got Romano, who's going to be your back-end guy with Kirkering. Alvarado, who they hope they fixed. Tanner Banks, who has a good arm. Then it's the Hernandez, Jose Ruiz, and Joe Ross. So that's your bullpen. The only move that's left with the roster is whether it's Clemens or Buddy Kennedy as your last bench piece. That's it. Phillies come north Thursday, opening day in Washington. I love it. This starts it all, right? This is the spring deal. Tournament, into the start of baseball, and the NFL draft. It's a great time of the year. And then you got NBA and NHL playoffs, which will be dark for us. Good morning, VG.
What's up, dude?
How are you, buddy? Happy
good.
Monday.
Yeah, happy Monday. Happy Tournament Monday. Whew.
Yeah.
It's been a marathon, 4 days.
You know what's funny is that Monday morning after the tournament, you go, wow, man, I just watched so much basketball.
Oh, so much basketball. It's dreary out. I drank so many beers.
Did you?
Yeah. It's just been a long 4 days.
How many pub days?
All 4, man.
You went 4 for 4?
Yeah.
My man.
Yeah, of course.
4 for 4.
Of course, dude.
There's a new meeting. 4 days, 4 pub crawls to watch basketball.
Yeah, started out yesterday right around the corner, over at Yards.
Oh,
Hung out there
nice.
for a few. Yeah, they went local. But yeah.
That's cool.
It's good, man. Sayonara mid-majors. I was never a fan. I get the darling Cinderella to a point, but I like seeing the big boys go. That's what I want to see.
I'll be honest with you. I'm kind of in the same boat. I know that there's a lot of us that love that story. Here's the problem is I think the mid-majors at some point caught up to the big guys, and it was really parody in a lot of ways. Because of the one and dones, because you kind of rebuilt, right? So the George Masons and the Butlers and those types of teams were able to, to succeed because they had kids that were there 3 and 4 years.
Yeah, and then, you get your bracket busted over a McNeese State. Get out of here! See, I don't want to see McNeese State on the second weekend. They had their run at Amir Khan.
Yeah.
Great story. He's making 100 G's now with this boombox sponsored by Buffalo Wild Wings. And Under Armour executives are flying out to give him a yellow sweatsuit. That's a great story. But yeah, other than that,
he was with Spike Lee yesterday.
That's amazing.
They had him roped off, sitting with Spike. Spike was probably getting his life rights.
Florida UConn, great game. And you got Hurley being the heel that he is, leaving.
He's the greatest.
Hope they don't bleep you like they bleeped us. He's yelling at Baylor about the refs.
I got to tell you, I love him. I know people hate him.
Yeah.
I love him. I think he's a great coach. And I think college basketball needs coaches to be characters.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, you saw the old heads, the old Italian guys. We need
the
a new
Olive Oil
crew.
Yeah. Calipari.
Ooh,
wow.
Yeah.
They're good, Arkansas.
Patino's a stubborn old man, not playing RJ for the last 3 or 4 minutes.
I know, man. It killed him. It killed him. I was ashamed because I was rooting for the Johnnies. I wanted the Johnnies to win. And
I was indifferent. I couldn't pick a side on that.
Yeah, I liked them because I thought they're old school. And I like that, old Manhattan, old New York, St. John's Garden.
You see Patino talking about how they get lumped together, and he's like, "We're really not close. I mean, the only thing we have in common is we're kind of the same age. We're Italian and we love basketball. It's that's where our commonalities end.
But they act like they are linked. It is funny that they are linked together in that way. It's pretty funny. But Duke looks awesome.
They do.
They look great. Listen, I know they were playing their backyard.
Yeah.
And, Baylor's not exactly.
Baylor stinks.
Yeah, they just rolled.
We'll see.
Flag is terrific.
We're going to see if they get my boys next. I think I've been saying Arizona's sneaky. So we'll see.
Well, that was a great game. Arizona, Oregon.
Yeah.
Oregon jumps out to the 26-4 lead. Something crazy. They were just on fire. And then Arizona comes storming back. It looks like they're going to win going away. And then Oregon makes it a game. And it was back and forth up until the end.
I love games of runs.
Yeah.
I love it when it's back and forth, back and forth.
Yeah, that was fun basketball.
Yeah.
I thought it was entertaining. The one takeaway I have from when you're looking at it, I go, Florida worries me. I liked Florida, but I don't think they handle pressure well. Guard pressure up top.
I think they'll be fine with that. I don't think that was a problem during the year. They have 3 really talented guards, so it shouldn't be an issue with them.
They couldn't in a half court set.
But
they had trouble.
UConn's an anomaly with that stuff.
Yeah,
I mean, they got that meathead coach mentality of like drive you crazy on defense.
Yeah,
they're not going to find another.
The 1-3-1, cause I tell you about the 1-3-1. The 1-3-1 zone is the key to messing things up. All right, it's my favorite zone. The 1-3-1.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it.
It's what got me to the St. Margaret's JV Camden County Catholic League Championship. All right, my 1-3-1. I love it, and it was all around yesterday, and it messes with you.
It does.
It's a junk zone, but
all those junk zones mess with you.
If you play it correctly, it can be effective.
Yeah, but people just don't see it, so they get
a
little flustered by it.
Yeah, you get freaked.
Same with the old Temple and the Syracuse 2-3. Yeah, dude, did you look at the weather for next Monday?
No.
Chance of a little rain, but we're in the 60s for this home opener.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. So how are we feeling?
Great.
As the boys coming up north.
Great. They just add a maniac who throws like 99 to bullpen with no control. Perfect. Let's get a little excitement coming out of the pen.
Well, him and Alvarado, left side, right side.
Yeah.
Firing.
Good
Don't
luck
know
with
where
that.
the ball is. Don't know where that pitch is going.
Yeah. I think Rangers breaking down. I don't think they re-signed him long term. He just has issues staying healthy. I think we knew Taijuan was going to pitch at some point.
I know.
He's the 5th starter. Who's got a good 5th starter?
Yeah, I hear you. But
I was looking today. The Padres are relying on Kyle Hart, who had a good run in Korea, and Pavetta is in their lineup. I mean, Braves got Ian Anderson. Stinks. I mean, Ian Anderson, Taijuan Walker, whatever.
Well, we'll see.
And top are just screwing with our heads with this lineup. He's you think you got Trey at the top, and yesterday he's like, maybe not. Hold on. Well, he said Kyle the last 3 games.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, we're going to switch it around depending lefty righty.
I can see him doing that. I can see him just not settling in on one lineup.
Yeah, well.
And maybe that's the right thing to do.
The nerds say it is. Because they say it doesn't matter where they bat in position. It's more so the lefty-righty matchup. So, I don't know. We'll see. But I'm excited, yeah.
Yeah, I am too. There's a lot of angst around this team. It feels like people are a little, I guess uneasy is the right word.
Well,
unsure.
Yeah, I mean, they got their hearts kind of crushed the way the season ended.
Yeah, you think?
And they're kind of just running it back. Kepler, I mean, he looks good right now. These tweaks, maybe Kevin Long's helped him. He says he feels completely healthy now. I mean, he's a player when he's good.
Listen, he's got pop.
It's not like he's 40.
No, he's got pop, and in his ballpark, he should be able to get you 20, 25 home runs.
Yeah. How long does the Brandon Marsh experiment last?
I mean, listen.
How long do you give him as the regular? A month?
Here's the deal. You got till the trade deadline, like near there, right? Like they're going to tweak at the deadline. Whatever they need, that's what'll happen. Right? Like, so it'll all come from the deadline. They'll look at it, and that's why Dombrowski didn't go get a right-handed bat. Like, I think we all knew that at some point you're going to need a right-handed power bat. Unless Bohm really just has this great year.
Right. Great year as far as power or just...
No, if you're going to bat him third, he's got to be.
You go with doubles power out of the 3 hole?
I am.
All right, yeah.
Yeah, I am. But he's got to be good. Castellanos has to hit. I mean, those are your 2 right-handed bats.
Was he batting 7th yesterday?
Here's the issues, right? Like you're right from the right side. Bohm, Castellanos, JT. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously Turner, but those are those guys are going to lengthen your order. You're going to lengthen your batting order.
Yeah, I'm not. He's got Real Muto ahead of Cassie, I think. I'm not big on Real Muto this year. I don't know.
Well,
he is my concern. Yeah, I think it could be a problem.
I mean, listen, I was always a JT fan. I mean, I get it. The age is the age.
Yeah,
but you need him, and he was banged up last year.
He was.
You need him to hit.
Yeah.
Like, again, other than Turner, those three guys are your right-handed bat. Now, Castellanos has been terrific, but, you know, I mean, he goes through spells a lot.
A lot, yeah. Right? He's a streaky guy.
So, but he's been good, by and large. You know, what's he got?
I'm not worried about it. I think Cassie's good. Yeah, JT's my big question mark, I think.
And Bohm. I mean, those are your three. Yeah. Those are your three.
I'm going to be hopeful first half Bohm last year is what we get.
You know, now, at some point, you go, do I need another right-handed bat in the outfield? Like the Marsh thing.
Yeah.
What happens, right? You're going to need something from.
Yeah, I'm just curious. He's going to be an everyday player. They say, like, if he's batting 125 after 30 games, I mean, they start doing a rotation, a platoon. You can't go on. There's got to be a limit to it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. What do you got there? Bot is in for Andrew today.
No, I like the Bot.
So, good morning, Bot.
Good morning, guys.
Now, of course, Tyler Zulli, affectionately known as the Bot, because he's my favorite robot. Nerd, knows everything. It does a great job on our Phillies coverage. You sent us a note.
Yeah, you guys were talking about JT, and I think the concerns are valid. He's one of 4 catchers who entered the season as a starter who's going into the season 30 or older, and only 2 guys that are entering as starters are older than him. One, Salvador Perez, who just continues to, like,
Kansas City
crush the baseball. The other one's Jacob Stallings, who's like a career journeyman, right? So you're getting into like this territory of, yeah, JT's getting older, and there's a reason Marchand is on the roster compared to Stubbs, because they need a guy who could probably catch twice a week as opposed to once.
Well, you're going to need him. You're going to need JT to hit.
Like, for sure.
Here's the deal: you can rest him and give Marchand a lot of work, but JT DHs. He's got to hit.
Yeah, I think that the threshold for me is like, what's the doubles number? Because I don't know he's not going to hit like 25 home runs anymore. I think he's probably in the teens area, high teens. But it's like, what's his doubles rate? What's his OBP?
Like, if he's healthier and he's rested more, maybe that translates.
If you can get him to 20, I think that's a great season, right? So you're right. If he's healthy and rested, then he gets to 20. That would be ideal.
Yeah, but he's got to drive home runs, though. That's the big. You need run producers, right?
Sure.
Like that's where what it's gonna come down to.
I mean, you get him to 20. He's only reached 20 twice out of the last 5 years. I mean, 20 be a godsend if he hits 20 this year.
Yeah, you're down.
I just expect. He feels like a 9-hole hitter to me at this point.
9?
Yeah,
not on this team. You got 9-hole hitters on this team.
I think Marsh has got more pop at this point if he makes contact. I don't know. Maybe it was the knee. Hopefully it was the knee, right? That's what he struggled with last year?
Yeah.
I mean, that's everything. You got no legs, you got no bat.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the point. So how are we feeling? Are you excited?
Yeah, I'm ready to go. Making my plans for Thursday, hang out with the boys, go right into some basketball. Yeah.
That's a good
ready
day.
To go.
Into the tournament?
Yeah.
That's a great sports day. How about you, Bot? Are you ready?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that this is a floor team that's really good, right? And I think you guys brought it up a little bit of down because of how it ended last year. This is still a good baseball team.
Exactly.
This is a team that everything you read ranks their rotation in the top 5 and their lineup in the top 5. So, I mean, they're a great team right now. I mean, they're not the Dodgers, but other than the Dodgers, they're as good as anybody else.
Yeah, I agree. All right, listen, I'm with you. All right, lots to get to. Franny Films' first draft installment is coming up. So we're going to take a little NFL draft coming up with Franny Films. Our first kind of look at who the Eagles might be eyeing up. What positions? We know it's deep in D-line. It's deep in tight end. They'll probably go after another O-line, probably another interior O-line, maybe even a tackle. Because you want to start grooming the next guy for Lane. So you got a lot of good prospects we'll get to with Franny Films, whose draft coverage is unparalleled. I mean, he's just unbelievable, man. He does such a great job.
I don't know how he does it, but
yeah, he
does never leave the house.
He's fantastic. And then we'll talk to our man, Adam Fisher, Temple coach, friend of the show, Fish to break down the tournament. So we'll talk to Fish coming up. Jimmy Stakes, Jim Salisbury does a great job with us with our Phillies coverage to kind of look ahead at opening day. We'll do a big bang up on Thursday, big MLB special.
Nice. Yeah.
All right.
Can't wait.
I'm looking forward to that. So we got lots of course, the brain all coming straight up. All right, let's talk a little, how about Rothman? Yes, our friends over at Rothman Orthopedics. Is your back out of whack?
Yeah.
Yeah? How about your shoulder?
My shoulder's all right. That's
where
Andrew.
Andrew's at.
Andrew's at Rothman getting his shoulder
Andrew's
looked
at he's out today because of the shoulder.
Yeah.
Mine's not terrible.
Well, the weather's breaking a little bit. It gets a little warmer.
Mine's not terrible. We got a big tournament coming up in Ripken this weekend.
All right. Yeah, you're going to be throwing
in Aberdeen, Maryland.
You throwing a lot of long toss?
Well, yeah, I'll throw with Moss all week.
All right.
Yeah, we'll do a big thing. But here's the deal. Rothman, our friends at Rothman, they're amazing. All right. Their mission, all right, because they've been practicing specialized care for over 50 years. And their mission's high quality, compassionate, affordable care that's rooted in research. Research leads to new treatments and better outcomes. Each Rothman doctor is laser focused on their specialty. Hip, knee, spine, you name it. They have a team for each body part right here in our backyard. So you can have long toss, you can cross over the defense in the driveway, and root for our teams like no other fans in the country. They are Rothman Orthopedics. They specialize in you. That's right. For more than 50 years, Rothman has participated in thousands of groundbreaking research and clinical trials with the goal of advancing knowledge, developing treatments, and improving outcomes for the benefits of their patients. Rothman Orthopedics specialize in orthopedics, and you visit rothmanortho.com/PHLY to learn more and make an appointment today.
Let's give a shout out to those godlike people at Ace Hardware Home Services that help you out when you got home issues popping up, and it stresses me out almost more than anything. So if you got like a leaky pipe, just say it, leaky pipe. Ace Hardware Home Services, they're in your neighborhood with everything you need to fix it. And they got the right people to do the fixing, which is super important. Air conditioning issues, you don't even know it yet, but you might as well have it checked and looked at because the weather, temperatures are rising, heat's coming. They got a person for that. You got a faucet you said you fixed last fall. Well, they got a person for that too, because they're not just the helpful hardware folks these days. Nah, they're also the helpful home service and repair folks. From plumbing to heating and cooling, they got trusted pros to keep your house humming all year long. Ace Hardware Home Services, they're bringing the helpful home, the helpful you love from the store right now to your front door. So visit Ace Hardware Home Services online at www.acehardwarehomeservices.com to get started on your next home project.
All righty. We love our guys at Ace, man. They're fantastic.
Ooh, let's also give a shout out. Flyboys doing it in the right too, like 1-9. They're like
what's funny about that?
Fourth or fifth worst.
I know it got ugly. Yesterday it got ugly with Fedotov, but and the Blackhawks. But they actually play. They play hard for not having anybody. They play hard. On Saturday, that Dallas team was nasty, right? Robertson, Rantanen, like they're nasty, and they took them to overtime. Like they give you effort,
yeah,
Yeah,
it's perfect.
Yeah,
effort.
Sixers. I can't even. The NBA.
I have not seen 3 seconds of a Sixers game.
No, I mean you can't. There's just no reason to. No, not at all. Let's talk some football.
Yeah,
because football is never far from at least our attention. And joining us, Franny Films. Good morning, Films.
What's happening, guys? How's everything going?
Man, he's got the draft shirt on. He's
I
ready
like
to
that
go.
draft shirt, man.
Let's go.
That is awesome. Where'd you get that?
I got people in high places. You know, just people that work over on the broadcast, and you get some free gear every once in a while.
I like it a lot, man. I like it a lot. All right, we're going to be doing this regularly leading up to the draft. And let's just start off with an overview of this draft and kind of look at some of the positions the Eagles might be in need for, because we know that D-line, O-line, tight end, you got some prospects here.
Yeah, it's a good class for those positions, right? And we've talked about it a couple of times over the course of this offseason, going back to when draft season started for the other 31 teams, right? So since January, where look, the very top of this draft, a little bit lackluster. It doesn't have like that same sizzle, that same level of blue chip talent. But once you get certainly to the area where the Eagles are picking in the first round, I think that's where it starts to level off a little bit. It's the talent that you come to expect in any given draft. And the areas where it is strongest happens to match up with a lot of the Eagles' needs. You mentioned defensive end, you mentioned defensive tackle, tight end, offensive line, especially early on. You know, there's some offensive linemen that are certainly going to catch a lot of interest. So yeah, it's a good spot where the Eagles are at. I'll be interested. Honestly, like as we sit here now, this is a very unpredictable first round. Like there are so many players where because of that lack of blue chip talent at the top, there are probably 15 players where you said, yeah, this guy's going to go 9th overall, or he's going to go 31st. And I would say, yeah, that sounds about right. I could see that happening. It's just one of those weird years where it's going to be tough to project, but that could play in your favor if you're a team like the Eagles, because now you might get a guy fall to you at 32 that maybe you weren't expecting. You know, hey, you know what? We had this guy graded really, really high on our board, and just because of the nature of this class, he was able to fall into striking distance.
Which is interesting because everybody tells me the same thing, that it's, you know, top heavy, and then the guys are graded so similarly that it could be anywhere. It could be a lot of chaos going on, and it's almost impossible to predict. I've been talking to a couple of GMs. They're like, dude, I have no idea. Like, we don't know how it's going to fall. People's draft boards are fall. And the interesting thing is, I guess we'll start at the top with the quarterback. So you know that Ward is going to be the number one pick, and that Ward of the quarterbacks is the safest one.
Yeah, I think that, you know, and just in terms of like top end talent as well, I would say that he's just clearly more talented than Shedeur Sanders. I think the tape is better, the traits are better than what we've seen from Shedeur Sanders over the last couple of years at Colorado, and so and going back to Jackson State. So I think when you're looking at Cam Ward, yeah, he's going to be number one. I have felt that way since, you know, right around combine time, even before combine, where it was like, all right, like it's just a matter of who's taking him at number one. Is it going to be Tennessee, or is a team going to trade up, you know, into that slot? Is it going to be the New York Giants, you know, moving up from 3? Is it going to be the Raiders moving up from 6? Cleveland moving up from 2? Just to avoid anybody else making that move. But it does look like it's going to be Cam Ward at 1. And then it gets interesting after that.
Yeah, because it's Tennessee that just moves back 1. They're going to go Abdul Carter, which they have to. Like, Abdul Carter is clearly the best player in the draft.
Yeah, and especially when you factor in the fact that, you know, the position he plays, right? If you're going to be that top flight pass rusher, and if you're going to take him that high, you think he's going to be Von Miller, you know, at that size. You know, he said his ideal weight was right around 250. That's going to be light for an edge rusher. He's on the undersized side of the spectrum, so you're hoping he's going to be that level of impact player, right? And I think that there is still some projection there for a guy that's only spent 1 year really playing that position. But I think when you're looking at his top end talent, yeah, I feel pretty good that Abdul Carter is going to be, you know, or certainly has the talent to be one of the most impactful players from this class.
So this is interesting, right? I don't like Shedeur. I wouldn't draft him. I watched it. Baldy and I broke his tape down. I just don't know what he does well. I mean, there's nothing I go, all right, well, he's got a cannon, or he's a great athlete, or he's got, like, he just knows how to play the game. Like, size is all right. Like, he's got size, whatever. But this ball's okay. It doesn't, and it's hard to even get a read on a lot because you got to go through a ton. First of all, to his defense, he had no O-line, right? Like, so he had no offensive line. And they threw a lot of flash stuff, a lot of short stuff. So it's really hard to get a beat on him into kind of what he is. But when I see, I prefer Jackson Dart. If I had to take a quarterback, one or the other, I would take Dart over him.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of conflicting viewpoints on Shedeur Sanders, and typically when I'm watching players, you know, and if you go into the draft database on allphly.com, you see like how I color code traits, right? So it's all right. If it's a blue, that's a definite strength. Red is a definite weakness, and everything, you know, will stay. The generic gets white on the draft board, black in my notes will stay that way if it's just, you know, right down the middle. with Shador, the areas where it's blue for me, he's incredibly tough in terms of like you mentioned like the lack of offensive line. He takes shot after shot after shot, and he bounces right back up, and he keeps on rolling. He's gonna and he's gonna make those plays late in the down regardless, right? And then his accuracy. When you see him from like especially from a clean pocket, when he's in rhythm, balls out fast, and he can be that kind of executor of an offense. But if you're going to play that way, then you need to be a master of the pocket, right? You need to be like that pocket assassin. And that's where, especially as the season went on this year, it was an issue last year as well, but as the season went on, his pocket presence, his pocket feel, his ability to like, all right, there's rush coming from my side. I've got to be able to step up into the teeth of the rush. He doesn't do that well enough right now, right? And that's the case for a lot of quarterbacks when they come into the league. Jaden Daniels, you would say that was an issue with Jaden Daniels last year. The problem is for Shador is that he doesn't have Jaden Daniels' athleticism. He doesn't have Jaden Daniels' arm. Exactly what you mentioned. And so when you're looking at, all right, well, what are the things that he can hang his hat on? If he's going to play the way that he plays, there's going to be a lot of bumps in the road early on. And that's why even coming into the year, the guys that he reminded me of were Geno Smith and were Baker Mayfield. Now, Baker Mayfield went first overall. Geno Smith went in the second round. Both guys had a lot of bumps in the road early on. It took them some time to really kind of get set up in the NFL game and really kind of get their head straight with how they were seeing things, how they were reading things out, how they're dealing with the rush. And I think that Shador will probably prime for a similar kind of pitfalls early in his career. Just do you have the patience to kind of wait that out and let him grow from the mental side of the game?
Yeah, it's a fascinating thing. But all that and the quarterbacks will play into a factor as to kind of who falls. And that's what we'll be looking at from the Eagles standpoint. How many quarterbacks really do go in the first round? Like, what's your prediction?
I think that we get two. I do think Shador Sanders ends up going at some point, just because, look, the Giants have kind of painted themselves into a corner. Yeah. Not, some of it by their own fault, and some of it just, is out of their control, right? Like they were in on Matthew Stafford by all reports, but Stafford ends up going back to LA, and there's all these other solutions here potentially. Like, do they end up with Aaron Rodgers? Is that enough to keep them from a round one quarterback?
Yeah,
do they end up with Kirk Cousins or Russell Wilson? Obviously they went out and they signed Jameis Winston, so it feels like that's their veteran answer. But it's that to me, like the urgency that should be felt from Joe Shane and from Brian Daboll means that a quarterback's going to get taken. Is it 3 overall, or do they trade back up into the latter stages of round one to take a guy? My guess is you're going to get a second quarterback there that goes in the top 31. I don't know that I know there's been a lot of buzz about Jackson Dart. I don't know that I'm fully on board there with that being a reality, because you know how this goes. We've heard this story a number of times with some quarterbacks where they get talked about. He could be a first round pick. He could be a first round pick, and then they end up a little bit later. So as of now, I do feel like it's probably 2. I was listening to Les Snead did an interview recently where he's like, yeah, this could be up there with like some of the fewest quarterbacks we've seen go on the board in round 1. Is it a replay of the Kenny Pickett year? I just think the urgency is there it's too hard there for the Giants to not take one.
You know what's funny? I don't understand why teams didn't go make a play for Tanner McKee.
Seems like no one made an offer.
Like Cleveland goes and gets Pickett. I'm like, why? Forget Pickett. Why wouldn't you go ask for McKee? McKee looks like more of a prospect than anybody other than Cam Ward in this draft.
They may have, it might be that the Eagles told them to kick rocks, right? I think that's something I'm sure most of these teams you would think that have done their due diligence on. You've heard some rumblings of Joe Milton up in New England, could the Patriots kind of flip him? They spent a late round pick on him last year. He got 1 start. He's got big time ability, but would you rather give up a 4th round pick for Joe Milton, and he's going to be a free agent in 2 years, or would you just take Jalen Milroe from Alabama and a couple, someone else that's got tools and traits and stuff to develop, and you get an extra year with him because obviously he's just coming out this year. So I think those are the discussions that everybody's having right now. That's why the Vikings have said, we're not trading JJ McCarthy. I think teams are trying to call around and say, all right, your backup quarterback, like, is he available, just because of the straits of this quarterback class?
Yeah.
Hey, now I got a draft head here. today it's a big day. Baldy's in Miami. It's Cam Ward's pro day. Is it just a formality? Is there anything that can really like make his stock rise or drop? He's clearly the number one overall pick or the number one quarterback. So, I mean, is this just a formality today?
I mean, it's a thing, VG, of like a lot of evaluators will say like you want to be able to see a quarterback throw live, right? You want to be able, if you are quarterback coach, offense coordinator, head coach, general manager, your area scout has already seen him throw live, right? Your college scouting director has likely already seen him throw live if you are in the quarterback market. But that's the thing about the guys that don't work out at the combine. You get under the ridicule of, he threw 7 incompletions, from media types, right? Because the league, they're not charting that stuff. At the end of the day, it's about like the buzz that you create. Does the vibes that come out of that? Oh, he didn't look great in Indianapolis, but not everybody has that luxury of saying, all right, we're gonna pass up the opportunity to work out live in front of 32 teams. With Cam Ward, with a lot of the top quarterbacks, you do have that luxury of saying, all right, we're gonna wait. If you want to watch me throw live, if you haven't seen me yet, you come to my pro day in my environment on my terms with my receivers, the guys that I'm used to working out with, and that's all that is. At the end of the day, no one is charting how many passes he completed. They just want to see the ball come out of your hands. They just want to see how, and they want to see like how you interact with your teammates and all that stuff. At the end of the day, they're gonna be put through all these private workouts with these teams where you're gonna come and do their stuff off their playbook and do their drills. That's going to be more important and is going to weigh heavier for all the teams that are going to go through through the paces there, as opposed to this pro day workout.
All right, so let's kind of fast forward to, we have the overview to the Eagles, right? At some point, because they have so many options. You can move up. They have so much draft capital that they could do whatever. You can move up, and chances are they're going to move somewhere. Howie. So let's talk D-line. Let's talk who possible candidates that we'll keep an eye on, because I know you have them.
Yeah, I mean, the one name that you can constantly hear potentially being available at 32, which to me would present great value because of the talent, is Walter Nolan, the defensive tackle from Ole Miss. This was a guy, the first time I watched him back in the fall, I said, yeah, like he looks like he's a top 20 pick. In most classes, I'm looking at him as that type of player, but certainly in this class, that is lacking that top end skill and that top end talent. You're talking about a defensive tackle where there were times watching him, I said, yeah, there are flashes of what has made Jalen Carter so great, right? Or he's got that quick twitch movement off the ball, that ability to penetrate, but also he's got some power. He's got strength to hold up in the run game. He'll make plays late in the down with his effort. He can win at the top of the rush. So you're just starting to check lots of boxes off with Walter Nolan. And so for me, that's the first one that comes to mind where like, all right, this would be a classic. Oh, every national pundit, the Eagles did it again. How'd this guy fall to them? That kind of player. I will say, Daniel Jeremiah had him falling out of the first round. A lot of analysts have said there could be reasons why he could fall out. But for me, I mean, this would just present the perfect like big time swing that you could take if you were the Eagles, if he were to fall to you at the end of the first round. And then after that, it gets back to the unpredictability of this class, because there are a number of pass rushers where I would say, all right, like, if you told me Shamar Stewart went 9 overall to the New Orleans Saints, I could believe it. I've also seen mock drafts where he falls to 32. This is the pass rusher from Texas A&M, loads of skill, loads of tools, basically no production. 1.5 sacks each of the last 3 years on campus. Was a former 5-star recruit, but just did not have the production to be able to back up that pedigree. So it becomes tough to predict because of that. But there are a lot of edge rushers you can certainly talk about in this area.
Yeah, he's so good. I had it because I was like, oh, let me check out some mock drafts. I'll pick one and then ask you about who the Eagles are supposed to select. And nails it, Walter Nolan. That's what I was going to ask him about.
Come on.
Phillips is amazing.
Listen, this is layup for him.
Yeah.
Where do we get the deep second, third, fourth round kind of prospects? All right? You're going to really be impressed.
I mean, once you start asking me about like Elijah Ponder or the pass rusher from Cal Poly, now we're in Chris Gokong territory now, man.
I love that. Chris Gokong, Cal Poly Tech. Love it. Go ahead.
Oh, one thing I had read, I mean, safety, this Starks guy out of Georgia, right?
Yeah. I love him.
Yeah, I've seen some drafts where he's in like the high 20s, like the low 20s, like 22, 21. Do you see that do you grade him as, do you think he'll be taken there? And If so, that's not a far jump for Howie to jump up and maybe grab him.
Yeah, and I've seen some mock drafts, VG, where he falls to the Eagles at 32. And the big thing, look, this was a guy, Malachi Starks, if we rewind to a year ago, we'll say 10 months ago, we go back to the summer, he was a consensus top 12 type pick in basically every mock draft. Everybody viewed him as one of the best defensive players in this class. True junior from Georgia. Very versatile skill set. Can play deep, can match up in the slot. Great plays on the ball. He comes out week 1 against Clemson and he makes this outstanding leaping interception in the slot down the field. I mean, he's got that kind of a skill set. A little bit on the smaller side, not completely undersized, but below average, kind of a modest frame, a modest body type. Then he goes to the combine. And the testing was, again, kind of modest. It wasn't terrible. He didn't bomb the workout, but he didn't run as fast or look as good in the jumps or in the shuttle drills as Nick Emanwari from South Carolina, another guy that I'm very, very high on, but it's just a different body type and a different skill set. So with Starks, it was like, oh, you've got this guy Emanwari over here who's 6'2", 220 and runs like a deer.
Yeah.
And then Starks, he doesn't quite look the part and he doesn't quite test that way. So, maybe he falls. This is the same thing that we did with Brian Branch coming out of Alabama a few years ago. He fell to the second round and has become one of the best playmaking safeties in the NFL. He's got that same versatility. I think when you're looking at Starks, one of the things I did when I was out at the combine was, all right, the testing's all great, but every night I wasn't putting all the test scores in. We had other people here at All City that were plugging the test scores in. I was going through here are my notes from the position workout, right? Who are the guys that popped, going through all the bag drills and the ball drills, like all the individual specific stuff. Malachi Starks, to me, had one of the best position workouts. I'm like, this guy looks the part. And then all the GPS numbers came out the next day, and it was, Malachi Starks was the fastest running all of these drills, right? Not the 40 time, not the 3 cone. He was moving the fastest from a miles per hour standpoint in all of these drills. It's like, yeah, football player, right? This is the great play speed versus time speed thing with Malachi Starks. Now, I think when you're looking at this guy, he's a football player all day.
Yeah, that's what I like. Let me ask you, O-line, some of the prospects. You like the kid from North Dakota State?
I do. Yeah. They played Colorado back in week 1. And I remember so they played him on a Thursday night. And so I got the film on Friday, Saturday, whatever it was. And I'm watching him and I'm like, man, this kid looks like, that's the center that the Bucks took from the first round in the first round last year, Graham Barton. And he was a left tackle, moved inside to center. And I said, this kid's tough. He's athletic. He's played a bunch of positions along the offensive line. So the versatility is there. Maybe the body type, not ideal to play tackle, but you're sliding this guy inside all day. And he goes to the Senior Bowl, had one of the best Senior Bowl weeks of any player down there, goes to the combine, aces the combine, the drills and the testing. He was outstanding. So I think Zabel, he's probably off the board by the time the Eagles pick. That would be my guess as we sit here in late March, is that he's probably off the board by the time the Eagles pick. But this is an athletic, tough, versatile offensive lineman.
Is there a tackle project that you see that you like?
Yeah, I think that there are a couple players that stand out. I would say first off, it would be a player that I've talked about. I've mocked him to the Eagles a couple times in the process, and that's Ariante Ursary from Minnesota. Yeah. The tape's not perfect. There are definitely things to clean up, but when you talk about a guy with his size, 320 pounds, north of 320, good length, tested well at the combine. I thought the drills, he was solid. He wasn't perfect, but he was solid. He's got some clunky transition to him, but in terms of a player that's played both tackle spots, he's played left and right and started the last 2 years on the left side for the Gophers, but has also played a little bit of guard. I think he could slide inside early on in his career as he gets incorporated in the NFL, which again would fit perfectly here with the timeline with the Eagles. He's a guy I think that you could work in with Jeff Stoutland, let him kind of work with. That would be an interesting project there. And then there are a couple other guys I won't spend as much time on, but Josh Simmons, the left tackle from Ohio State, he falls because of a torn patellar tendon. That if he were to fall, that would be why. He tore his patellar mid-season. So what does he look like coming off that injury? He was on track to be a top 12 pick before the injury this past year for Ohio State. So I would say that Josh Simmons would be another one that could potentially fall to the Eagles. And then one other guy would be more of a day 2 pick in terms of pure project. is Cameron Williams, the right tackle from Texas, only a 1-year starter. And this kid was a mess this past year. I mean, he had like 15 penalties. He gave up some sack production, but tools for days, athletic. He's big. He's long.
big.
He looks
Yeah.
the part.
Yeah.
I mean, he absolutely looks smart. He's a day 2 dart throw.
He's
just because of the
Stoutland
talent.
U. Get him to Stoutland U. That's exactly what he is.
Yeah,
With that
so it's,
frame?
to me, like he's one where if the interview checks out, and you talk to him, you bring him into the building, you're like, yeah, like I want to work with this kid. That's a day 2 layup.
Yeah, because with his frame, he could be a player. He's got all the tools. Franny,
No
great stuff as always, brother. We'll talk to you later this week. We'll go through like a whole big kind of deal, right? Like we'll plan it all out and we'll have you more centered. This was great. Great primer. You're the man, buddy.
Yep, lay it on me, guys. I'm looking forward to it.
Where are you? What's your schedule?
So Bo Wolf and I were doing the PHLY draft show tomorrow at noon. So Tuesday at noon, or we can check in live for that on our YouTube page. We got the PHLY Eagles show. I'll be on that tomorrow at 2:00. And then tomorrow I've got our, I think there's like 2 tickets left or something for the film event tomorrow night. So if you want to get more acquainted with the Eagles free agent additions here this offseason, I'm going to be breaking down film right there in the PHLY studio. So you go and check it out. I know we've got links on allphly.com. You can go to my Twitter page. I've retweeted that a couple times. So if you're interested in coming in, you get some dinner, watch some film with me. There's I think there's like 2 tickets left, maybe 1 or 2 tickets left. So you can jump in and join us tomorrow night.
I'm working on the food for you.
There we go.
Yeah.
What do we got? What are we thinking?
Well, I think we're going to do Primo's and pizza.
Oh, nice.
Love it.
I think that's what we're looking at. Primo's Pizza
Can't go
and
wrong.
football.
Can't go wrong with that.
And Franny Films. Love
There
it,
we go.
buddy. Thanks, my brother.
Appreciate it, guys.
There he is. Fran Duffy, my man, Franny Films. I love this stuff. You know, it's funny, Starks. Because Starks is a football player. Like, you just know it. You watch, you just see him.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you're excelling at Georgia, it doesn't matter what your combine
Right.
stuff
I don't
is.
think he'll be
Playing the
there,
SEC.
but, you know.
No, but at 22, that's not a far jump. I mean,
Yeah,
that seems like a reasonable jump for Howie.
Howie to go up to get a safety.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not sure that they'll do that,
Mhm.
but you never know. The kid Nolan, though. Oof.
Yeah?
Yeah, now there might be issues, but
What kind of issues?
yeah, well,
Off the field?
Yeah. You
Big
never know.
Dom's here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The fixer.
Yeah.
All right. You know what it's time for?
I do.
Your arch rival.
Oh, this guy.
We had a battle royal. Brain versus VG. Where do we stand on the battle royal?
It's a pretty good fight so far. We're even.
Even.
So we're only on games where we disagreed on.
Right.
We're 4-4-1. The Gonzaga was the final game of the weekend we had disagreements on and ended up pushing.
4-4-1 in the
Yes.
battle royal.
Yes.
Wow. That's amazing. All right, let's go to our man. He's in Aspen.
Of course
I
he
love
is.
it. He is.
Of course he is.
Our man. The
Brain. Red, the brain finder.
online casino app. What do you say, Brain? How is it
Oh my
out there in
God.
Aspen?
How are you, man? You know what's funny? I got to tell you, this battle with him, like I actually, no joke, I was taking quite seriously. And
I know
I
you.
bitched to you. I bitched to you about a few of those games. Just, now it's funny, that Houston game was crazy. They're on 13 with like a minute and a half to go. And Gonzaga, you know, actually, like you would argue, I got a lucky push. They cut it to 3 with like 2 seconds left, but it ended on 5. But 13 with a little over a minute to go. I'm like, oh my God, how do I not win that one?
Yeah, that
But
was
4-4-1.
I mean, you should have won that.
How do I not win that one? I mean, they couldn't even get a shot off. The guy like loses control of the ball, and then you get a foul.
Well, it's
2 seconds.
it's
He's
the
making free throws with
You were
2 or 1
locked out.
seconds
They
left.
shouldn't have been in the game.
Come on,
It was
dude.
At the
blowout.
way end, I got lucky push. I admit that. But for the total of the game, come on. I mean, that was very, very fortunate, and that would be kind in saying that. But you know what's funny? I got to tell you something really funny. Really funny. Last night, me and Greg were texting, and like, you know, we're like, oh, we had a disagreement, but it was like, we're like, you know what? Let's just make it like an unofficial one on. And the line was between 4 and 4.5 Oregon Arizona game, and it's just funny how these games come down so much to like every half point makes a difference. Because last night, the line opened at 3.5 in the Arizona game, and I don't know, VG, if you got Arizona laying 3.5, because if you did, you won.
No, I got 4.5.
It's getting the right number, man. Is just everything. And I got that 4.5 last night, and again, then they ended up winning by 4. But so many of these games, every single half point means so much. But did you guys enjoy the tournament? Like, what were your?
I thought it was great.
I loved it.
I had a great time. I watched a ton of it in between baseball and youth stuff, and the kids stuff. But I thought it was great. I think one thing we learned is that it's the new climate, NIL portal, is the death of the mid-major. Like, Cinderella is dead.
That's a good point by you. I never really thought about that, Anthony, until you said it, but actually seems like you make sense. It definitely has hurt that aspect of what we saw for years. I could not agree with you more. It actually,
think definitely
has taken up. Yeah, you're right.
Think about this. Right. Here's why. Because everything's built through the portal, like St. John's. Right. Like, so they look around, they see talent at these mid-majors, they pluck them, right? Like, kids, somebody left 13 minutes after their team lost. One of those kids. Like, so now anybody that's left in mid-major, not very good. Even if they're there for 3 or 4 years, they're not going to be that good.
It's a really good point by you. It's funny. You're absolutely right. It absolutely destroys what they're trying to accomplish, because you're right. Someone's going to say, all right, listen, we'll pay you double, we'll pay you triple to come here. And look, what kid is going to say no to that? It's almost impossible.
I will say this. I like it to this extent. I thought that it got a little too common, right? I thought Cinderella was like, she got herself around. Like, she was too prevalent. Right.
First of all, I'm going to say this, Anthony. In life, I don't know if you were the first person that said Cinderella got 2. Oh my God, that was great. All right, I have to use that one. Cinderella got around too often. All right.
She was everywhere. She was everywhere, right? Like, there's got to be some context to the upset, and I think we lost context to the upset. And this is what we now, with the big conferences all here, this is what we have again. We have context.
I got to tell you, yesterday's game, and I give them a lot of credit. I think it's really going to help them. I complained to VG. I had a huge live bet on Florida yesterday, -2, and they were up 8 with 12 seconds to go, and I'm like, I don't know how in the world. But the game itself, Connecticut played incredible. I mean, I think that's going to help Florida a lot. I really believe that. I thought that game, facing a team that really was just had that mental just toughness to them, just really clawed and scratched and gave Florida the fight of their lives. I mean, Clayton was incredible down the stretch, but I think that's going to help Florida. I really do. I think that kind of game was like, all right, we got through this. I don't think we're going to get much harder than this. I know UConn wasn't as good as like a Duke. I'm not dumb. I get that. But in terms of just having that, like, what did Rudy Keith say? To beat the champion, you got to knock him out or whatever. Like, they had the heart of the champion, UConn, and I give them credit for, as Hurley goes, he goes, we showed, what's the word, the adjective you use in terms of honor in losing?
Yeah, honor. And I said it was an honorable loss. Yeah.
It was an honorable loss. And I thought that was a really good game. I enjoyed watching that game. And I give Florida credit for fighting through a game where that was tough. That was tough, but they got through it because St. John's couldn't. St. John's, and it's funny, anything we talked about it. I said I worried about. Well, I thought they were obviously going to win. I worried about their offense in one of these games. I don't know if it's been game 2, game 3, game 4, game 5, or game 6, but their offense was not going to show up. And 4 of their 5 starters had their worst game of the year on one game.
Well, and you just look at two factors at play, right? Yep. One, I was talking to VJ about it. The 1-3-1. Yep. The 1-3-1 is such a tough deal. If you play it correctly, it messes with you on offense. It just does.
Yeah. Well, they just. I mean, I thought that was they just. I mean, they were just so bad. Oh my God, but they were sloppy. They couldn't score. I mean, rooting for them that game because I had a big
that's
bet
what
on
a
them.
1-3-1 does to you. It throws you
Correct.
out. Now, here's the
They were
other
out of
thing.
sync. Yeah.
Now, the other thing that worries me about Florida going forward is they did not look good against ball pressure. In the half court, they could not get into their offense.
Yeah, but see, you're absolutely right. And again, maybe I'm giving too much credit to Golden, and that's Coach Todd Golden. Maybe I am, but I don't think I am, because I always say, okay, if I'm dissecting this, and I think it's also very key, in my opinion, Anthony, this game was played on a Sunday as opposed to being played like on let's say the Thursday versus the Saturday game or a Friday versus the Sunday game. They have all Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, okay, to prepare, saying, listen, okay, other teams are going to see this, okay. This is what we have to, guys. This is what we're going to do. This is what we have to do. These are all elite athletes who are great players who, in my opinion, if coached properly, should be able to like fix somewhat what happened here. But you're right. They look like, a deer in headlights, like they'd never seen this before. Maybe I'm giving too much credit to their coaching staff that they're going to adjust for this, but I think they will, but we'll see. But you're absolutely right, Anthony. It was stark to see how just unprepared or just upset how they couldn't handle it.
Is it a preparation thing or is it a weakness?
I think in my
there is such a thing as ball pressure gives you weakness.
I understand that, but there's also, you're right, Anthony, but it's also like, listen, you get trapped here, ball goes here. This is where in terms of just guys where they should be lined up in terms of, again, and I'm not a coach. I don't pretend.
Yeah, but handle, like the personnel comes into play, right?
I'm not saying this. No, right. I hear you, but here's the thing, Anthony. Their personnel. Listen, the personnel comes into play when you have, in my opinion, crazy athletic team against a team that maybe has no athleticism. They can't handle it just because athletically they're not there. Florida doesn't have that issue. So to me, maybe I'm wrong, and again, I'm sure like you had Coach Martelli on, he'd maybe say, Brad, you're wrong on this. If you don't, maybe it is just what you're saying. But I think if you do have the athletic ability, it should be somewhat be able to be execution of, okay, when you're being trapped, we have to be in certain spots and make certain kind of passes and maybe attack it a certain way, saying, listen, they're coming at us. Maybe we can use this as a way to actually score as opposed. Actually, let me ask you guys a question, Anthony, real quick. When teams are up, right? Teams are up by, let's say, 3 at the end of the game or 4 or 5, and they always let the other team go down and shoot that 3. Why don't teams press them and make it harder for them to get off the shot?
Well, you saw a little bit of that. I thought the way Arizona coached it last night was correct, right?
Yeah,
where you're up 3, so you're protecting this number, right? You're protecting against the 3-point shot. And so you wait, foul, get a couple seconds off, foul. Like, as long as you're able to inbound and execute your inbound plays to get the ball in after the free throws, it's smart. Like, there was inside 15 seconds, and they didn't give up. They didn't play it straight up to give them look for a 3.
I couldn't agree with you more. Look, that was a good game. I mean, Arizona got down big early. They were down 12.
I did that.
And then they were up 4 at half. What's that?
So I did that. Me and my buddy Kevin, who's a Duke guy, who's a great basketball guy. The two of us coached the JV team, and we were fouling. We had fouls to give at the end of the game. So we're up like 2 or wherever we're up. So we kept telling them, listen, you got to wait like a beat, and then foul, right? It's a way to bleed the clock out.
It's funny, Anthony. The team yesterday, and I did very well in this game. That I thought was most overrated coming into this tournament was Iowa State.
Yes,
I thought that
you loved Ole Miss. Yeah,
I thought Ole Miss was going to win. I had a huge bet Ole Miss at halftime, huge miss. Ole Miss money line, huge miss. Ole Miss getting 6 points, but I thought Iowa State. The line makers never seemed to adjust from what they thought they were. Right, I always thought about being consistent versus being right. They got this just love Iowa State, and then they had injuries, and they just didn't play well for half the season. And they were still getting respect, like they were.
And here's what I love about Ole Miss: they're a guard team that are veterans. Those kids have been there, right? They're unflappable. So they get off to a tough start. Iowa State comes out
they're down 8 right away.
And no problem. Like Ole Miss, no issues.
Yeah, like I'm looking forward to the Sweet 16, and it's funny, Anthony. And again, I went to Michigan, and I really like Michigan, but look, the two bigs are good. Wolf and Golden are good players, but every time I watch them, I lost. Look, I had A&M big, and I did not get home. I just keep waiting for this team to not only lose, but to just get trounced, because I just do not like when I watch them. I just don't. I think they should be a somewhat easy team to beat if you have any kind of ability to rebound or do anything against their bigs, because I don't love their perimeter play at all. And usually in college, like, that's what you want to see. You know what I'm saying? And every time I watch Michigan, I'm like, God, I can't believe they keep doing it. But we'll see if they can keep it going against Auburn.
Yeah, Purdue's like that for me. I look at Purdue and I go, I don't see how's this team in the Sweet 16. I don't get it.
Well, answer your question. How are they in the Sweet 16? They played High Point, who I actually did think High Point had a real chance to win, and then they played McNeese State.
Yeah,
like they played two teams not in the top 80.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, like that's how. It wasn't anything they did that was that great. Their schedule was the easiest of any of these 16 teams by far.
All right, well, we're going to, coming up, we'll give you, later this week, we'll go through all the games, and we'll have the latest.
4-4-1, baby. 4-4-1.
Next installment between VG and the Brain.
Is he all week in Aspen?
Oh, yeah.
Is it snowing?
Oh, yeah. There's snow on the ground, but I wouldn't say it's snowing per se. There's snow on the mountains and stuff like that. The weather's terrific. This is such a beautiful. It's my only second time been here. It's just Colorado is my favorite state in the world. I don't know if you, Anthony, VJ, have you been here? It's my favorite state. I think it's just I love nature. It's just so beautiful, and I love just the air and walking around and I just love looking at it.
I prefer coastal places.
Yeah, I agree.
But it's beautiful. I mean, it's
beautiful. People of your means and stuff, I'm wondering, what's the difference? How do you go Aspen and not Jackson Hole? Like, what's the difference if you're going ski resort?
Well, I go both. That answers your question. It's like, how do you decide between pizza and cheesesteak? I'm eating both. I'm having a pizza and a cheesesteak. I'm not just doing one. I do them both.
Outrageous.
So I don't have to decipher.
You're the man. That's why you're the man. I love it. Anything for the people?
By the way, Jackson Hole is terrific. Love Jackson Hole.
I'm sure you do. That's awesome. Anything for the people?
Guys.
All right.
Well, it's interesting. Yeah, I do like a couple things tonight real quick. Sabonis coming off an injury. They made his rebounds 10.5 rebounds. Again, the average is 14.5. Now, again, could he be in a minutes restriction? I guess it's possible, but I'm betting against that. And I think that he'll get his 11 rebounds regardless of what's what. PJ Washington's averaging over 8 rebounds a game. He was averaging about 31 minutes to get those 8 rebounds a game. Now with Dallas having like no one on their roster, he's playing 38 minutes a game. Don't need that Michigan education to tell me he should be over 8, let alone 7.5. Those are my 2 favorites for the night.
There you go. Good stuff, Brain. Enjoy
Appreciate
yourself.
You guys.
See you, pal.
All right, guys.
Be
I'll
careful.
see you. Be good.
There he is, the Brain from Aspen.
Look like he's from his bed in Aspen.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, laying back.
Well,
the headboard, they're saying.
Yeah. Not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad. This portion of the program is brought to you by the Bet Park Sportsbook online casino app. All right? That's the Brain. And let's talk about some of our friends, shall we? Let's get into it. I want to tell you about, I got my read here where my man, we were going to talk about what an incredible weekend it was. And we were about our Parks. Time at Parks.
Good Casino. Time, both Thursday and Friday.
It was
hopping.
Awesome. It was great times. Just had a blast. The Bet Park Sportsbook online casino has you covered for the college basketball tournament. You can make those future bets right now. So Duke now is the favorite, 2-1 after their showing.
Mm-hmm.
So 25 brings back 50. Florida 25 brings back 68-75. The big dog is Tennessee, the value dog. 25 brings back 350.
All right.
They, of course, play Florida in the rematch. Whether your team wins or not, there's always a way to win on the BetParx online casino and sportsbook app. All right? We love it. If you can't get to Parx Casino, you got the app right there. Live dealer, blackjack, roulette, poker, you name it. Hot online slots based on the movies, Rocky, Ted, Goonies. Play your favorite hot online slots like Cash Eruption.
Love Cash Eruption.
88 Fortunes. You know that?
I do know 88 Fortunes.
You know Cleopatra online?
I love Cleopatra.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, she's got a great voice. You hit certain things, and
I like
she
Cleopatra.
comes out.
I've always been a fan of Cleopatra in history.
Yeah.
She was an original OH, original hottie.
Yeah, she is an OH.
You got your favorite Breaking Bad slots, Peaky Blinders slots. It's amazing. New users get up to $1,000 casino bonus back if you're down the first 24 hours. Go to betparx.com. All right, for all the details. You're going to be 21. You're going to be in PA, New Jersey, Michigan, Maryland, Ohio. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right. You want to tell us a little bit about TrueMark?
Yeah, of course. TrueMark's got what we need. High interest savings accounts, because savings, I mean, you need them. You need them probably after this weekend of betting. You need them to get your futures in Phillies 10-1. I like it. So I tap into my savings account a little bit for that. The TrueMark Financial Credit Union, as spring comes, they got a bunch of stuff to help you spring into some savings. So if you got financial goals, whether it's buying a house, you want to take a vacation, build up that all-important emergency fund so you don't get screwed by some surprise emergency at the last minute. Well, TrueMark Financial Credit Union, they got the perfect savings accounts. TrueMark Financial offers high-rate certificates and money market accounts to help your money grow a little faster and work a little harder for you. So to get more information on this, visit TrueMark.com for rates and to learn more. TrueMark Financial, they are federally insured by the NCUA. Equal opportunity lender. Rates are subject to change. TrueMark,
we love it. By the way, Brad said VG was correct. Laying in bed.
yeah. Get out of bed next time, Brady. Come on, just sit up.
Sit up straight.
Yeah, come on.
This portion of the program brought to you by Rite Aid. RiteAid.com for the store pharmacy nearest you. Let's talk some baseball, baby.
Oh, yeah.
All right. We love talking baseball. And with our man, Jimmy Stakes, the great Jim Salisbury, who is a elite baseball man, and we appreciate his help here at PHLY for his Phillies knowledge and his baseball knowledge. Stakes, good morning. How are you, buddy?
I'm good. Can you hear me, Anthony?
We got you. You have
okay.
You got flutters yet? Thursday opening day?
I'm ready for it. I'm excited. Opening day is a great thing, you know. I always tell the story when I was in grade school. And this was like before schools had, big tech centers or media centers, and we had just one TV in the entire school, and it was sort of on a rolling cart.
Yeah.
I was like in 4th or 5th grade, and my teacher said, "Hey, go down to the library and get the TV." And I wheeled it from the library to the classroom, and we watched opening day. So it's special.
Oh, that's awesome. I don't know about you. I'm suspecting you were like me, that if you looked at my notebook when I was in grade school like that, I would put all the teams and their lineups.
Mm-hmm.
So I would write their lineups and see if I could get them all correct.
So you look out the window now, it's gray and rainy, and I was miserable on days like this. If I had a little league game or a high school game, I would look out the window the whole day, and it would be rainy, and I knew you weren't going to play. And I remember my teacher saying, "Stop looking out. You got a game tonight?" If it was nice, I'd be looking out the window all day. You got a little league game tonight? Yeah. Well, I'm going to call your parents, and you're not going to play if you don't focus on school. And if it was rainy, I'd look out the window the whole day and just absolutely miserable.
Dude, I'm the same way. Same exact way. I hated it. I'm around it with my little one playing travel ball. So I'm always like I go, man, I would love to go back. We had a game Saturday. We're going to Ripken this weekend in Aberdeen. They have all the replica ballparks, which we love. And there's something about it, man. It's great. It's so much fun, dude. And in fact, we got a great local story. Kevin McGonigal from Bonner, Delco kid, 20 years old, for the Tigers. Stud. I love this kid. He took Nola deep yesterday.
Yeah, I saw it. It was awesome.
400 and what it was, 8 feet, whatever it was.
Yikes.
He had 111 exit velo. Wow. It was a bomb,
he said
Jimmy.
he watched a little tape on Nola and he's like, I'm going to get a first pitch fastball. And he was right. And he just turned on it. But he was, number one, a first round pick out of Monsignor Bonner. The baseball world knows all about Kevin McGonigal, even if that was his introduction to a lot of fans on TV yesterday. He is well known. He's a hell of a prospect, left-handed stick, middle infielder, I think he's a top 30 prospect on most people's list, maybe top 20. And you'll see him he'll be playing in Detroit, probably, maybe next year after, but he'll be a good one. He's pretty tight with this kid, Aiden Miller.
Yes.
From the Phillies.
Yeah.
So they were in the same draft class. They played a lot of travel ball, a lot of PG against each other growing up, and they're kind of they're golf buddies, they're friends. So the Phillies have a really good prospect in that Aiden Miller, and it's nice to see that those two guys follow each other. And boy, what a pretty swing. Boy, he unloaded on that pitch.
I love the kid. So it's interesting. One of my dear friends, Joe Ben, his son Sam, who's my godson, played ball with him and in Delaware County. And the kid, like overnight, junior into senior year, just blossoms. He's a great kid. Just blossoms. Great. And his father's awesome. His dad. In fact, I was texting with his dad yesterday after the home run. And so we're going to get Kevin on the show sometime this week. I love our local kids. I'm really proud of them. And this kid is just a ball. Like I was in high school. He was like, oh my God, his senior year, he was ridiculous.
Yeah, I love that expression. He's a ball player. I love that expression. I know what it means. You know what it means. It's baseball people know what it means. When you're a ball player's ball player, man, that's a great compliment.
Yeah, it is. All right, let's talk the Phil's ball players. All right, let's talk about where they're at. So they pick up Carlos Hernandez yesterday to help with the back end, help with the bullpen, actually fill out the bullpen.
Yeah, Phil, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah. He, with Ranger having back stiffness, Walker's your fifth starter. They bring in Hernandez, who actually, he made 11 starts for Kansas City. He can pitch in leverage situations at sometimes. He's got a ridiculous arm. He throws 98. You just don't know where it's going.
Yeah, and those are guys. It's difficult to put those guys in high leverage when you don't know where it's going because you start walking people in late in games.
In the back end.
He's got a big arm. The way I look at it, he's kind of going to flesh out their bullpen. He's a big arm. He's sort of maybe the last guy in their bullpen. It's like sometimes you see an artist and they get a pile of scrap metal and they take out the blowtorch and the clippers and they fashion it into a really nice piece of artwork. So to me, I see him as sort of, big arm. Yeah. Struggles big time with control, struggles with his off-speed stuff, had a lousy spring. Yeah. But, the raw material, that big arm, Philly's impressed with the big arm, and they're going to try to break out the blowtorches and make something out of them. Dombrowski has a thing for hard throwers. So obviously I think that helped him, but it's probably not the perfect comparison but Jose Alvarado was kind of a big arm with some command issues, and look what they've done with him. So you hand over a guy with a big arm and some ability to Caleb Cotham, his pitching crew, and see what you can make out of him. So they viewed it as an upgrade over Tyler Phillips, who they'll try to get through waivers. and we'll see what happens. But to me, he's like the 7th or 8th guy in the bullpen. I'm not pinning any big hopes on him for the season or the postseason. You just would love to see if you can make something out of him, see if he can be a contributor. It's a guy, you throw something against the wall, see if you can get something out of it.
Yeah, I've always loved that about Dombrowski. I've always felt the same way, which is you got a big arm. I want to try to figure it out, right?
Yeah.
Like I want to collect those arms, and sometimes they don't work out. Sometimes they're who's the kid from the Tigers he brought over? He had a big arm.
The Phillies guy?
Yeah, the Phillies brought him over from Detroit.
I don't know. You have to give me a hint.
Soto.
There
you go.
Thank you.
Oh, Gregory Soto. Yeah. A couple years ago, they got him in midwinter, and he was here, a season and a half?
Yeah, big arm. Couldn't figure it
Yeah.
out.
And he had some couple of I think he had at least one All-Star season and 30 saves over there in Detroit. So he was I think he was a little more established than this Carlos Hernandez. So, it's like last guy in the bullpen, take a shot. You take a shot, see what happens.
These Alvarado stats for spring training are pretty nuts. 9 innings pitched, 3 hits, all singles, no runs, 3 walks, 20 Ks.
Yeah.
And his sinkers average 100.2 miles per hour.
Oh my God.
I keep wanting to say, hey, queso grande, that's what I call him, big cheese. Save some for the season, man. Save some for the season.
Yeah.
But you're right. He's been great. And I was down there for a couple of weeks. He's walking around with a spring in his step and a good positive look on his face. He just looks like he feels good and he's performing. He's gotten himself in really good shape. Really interested to see Thursday late in the game, where he gets up and starts limbering up. Is he your 8th inning guy? Is he, a left-handed pocket? Is he your kill switch or kill shot in the 7th or the 8th? Or is he going to be the closer? I kind of suspect they're going to give Romano a shot, but hey, it's just something I'm kind of curious to see. It's just great that Romano's thrown well too, and it's great Strom's going to be ready. But yeah, I'm very, who couldn't be encouraged by what they've seen from Jose Alvarado in spring training? And honestly, I'm happy for him. He's a good guy, real good guy.
Yeah, he's a great dude. He really is. All right, so let's look at it. So the rotate with Rangers back, Taijuan Walker is now your 5th start. Now, he won't pitch until game 6 of this season. Game 1 and 5 will be Wheeler, the way the schedule rolls. And then game 6, Walker will start. How long do you think that'll last?
If Walker goes out there and gives you a passable start in game 6, he could get another one because it would buy them some patience with Rangers. And I think you need to be patient. You're going to probably manage Rangers' workload a little bit anyway. Just because they feel like maybe they overdid it a little early last year, and that led to some of his midseason struggles with the back and the hamstring. And don't forget, he had a fatigued shoulder. So I think Rangers going to probably be down at least 2 turns. And if, like I said, if Taijuan pitches okay, it buys them a little patience. But, Rangers going to be the deciding factor. They just want to make sure he's healthy. Because they view him as an important part of the rotation. He is an important part of the rotation. It's a huge year for him. And it's kind of, I look at, if he has a good year, it's win-win. He goes to free agency and he helps, on a good note and makes some money, and he helps the team this year. Because I have a tough time seeing him being back here next year. I just think, all signs point towards him becoming a free agent. And some of his durability issues have to give the team a little bit of pause, I would think.
Yeah, without a doubt. I feel the same way. Now you got
an important guy. Got to get him right. Got to get him healthy. Got to get him contributing here in 25. And you never know. I just think he's going to need a little time because 1, you got to get him healthy. You got to get that back soreness out of there, and 2, he has not, to me, built a very big workload in spring training. He got some work on the backfields. He's going to need some time to. I'm not saying he's back at square one, but he's going to need a little bit of time to ramp up again. So
yeah, I'm with you.
I don't know that this thing's going to be one start and back and everything's copacetic.
No, I think that lasts till May. I'm with you. And listen, I mean, you got Painter coming at some point in July, August. They're going to wind up going to a 6-man rotation. You can just see it, barring any health issues elsewhere. But that's kind of how it's going to play out. What do you make of Topper and the lineup? Feels like what he's going to do is it's going to be dealer's choice depending on the matchups, lefty, righty, and who's on the mound.
Yeah, at least early. It sounds like the evaluation and his decision making is just continuing beyond spring training. Sometimes it's hard, or it's a little bit of a challenge to get a great read on somebody in spring training, especially a young player, because that pressure's not there, and also veteran players because maybe that adrenaline is not there. I'll tell you what, early in camp, all roads led to Trey Turner leading off. It sounded like that was the way they wanted to go, and I expect them to go that way on Thursday against a left-hander. But I think it was kind of more about Trey Turner than anything. I think they viewed putting him in the leadoff spot, getting him thinking like a leadoff man, might get him to using the whole field, spraying the ball around, think line drive, think get on base, be selective. It just might enhance all of those elements of his game. But they have looked at Schwarber a little bit more. We know what he's done the last 3 years. I know it's an unorthodox leadoff man. It's unusual. And it's like, half the camp, or half of the fan base and the people who watch this team think, I like Kyle Schwarber leading off, and the other half are against it. But it's about winning ball games, and they won a lot of ball games with Kyle Schwarber leading off. I mean, they were 0 for 10 in the postseason in the 10 seasons before he got here. They didn't make the postseason. They had a 10-year drought. He's here 3 years. He's the leadoff man the bulk of the time. They make 3 postseasons. So bottom line is it looks a little odd at times, but it works. I mean, they've gotten a lot of result out of it. So sounds like Rob's going to continue to maybe like he has here late in spring training, have 2 lineups, a right-handed lineup and a left-handed lineup. And then eventually I think it's important he settles on one, because baseball players are really, they like routine, and they like to know where they're going to slot into the bullpen. They like to know where they're going to be in the lineup. And I think managers generally most like to have that. Yeah. Unless you're a platoon-based team like the 93 Phillies. But I think eventually he's going to settle on something, but doesn't appear he's there yet. So we're going to see this Schwarber leading off maybe against righties, and Turner leading off against lefties, and then sliding to 2 against righties. But you're going to see that consistent top 4 just in some order. It'll be Turner, it'll be Schwarber, it'll be Harper, it'll be Bohm, and then it'll be one of the leadoff guys. And so it'll be Turner, Harper, Bohm, Schwarber, or Schwarber, Turner, Harper, Bohm, I guess.
Yeah. I would like to see just a prolonged period of, at some point, with Turner leading off, just from this stolen base standpoint. I just want to see if he can go crazy swiping bags.
Yeah, because he's such a dynamic offensive player when he's playing well, and the speed and the stolen bases are a big part of it. And I would agree with you. I think there's been a reluctance to run a little bit because he's in front of Harper, and no matter how you slice it, he's going to be in front of Harper somewhere. Yeah, but maybe as a leadoff man, he can do a little more of that, because you want to walk Harper. Okay, it's now you got no outs and 2 men on base, and you still got 3, 4, 5. Take your chances. But I agree. I love the stolen base. I love speed.
Yeah, me too. I was
disappointed it disappeared from the game for all those years, but man, you got it in Trey Turner. And I think if he's playing that type of a game, I honestly think he'd play a better all-around game.
So
and
do I.
might spill over into the field because now he's himself.
Yes. Yes.
And I think sometimes he takes his struggles at the plate when he's not going good. Maybe sometimes will struggle in the field, takes it to the field a little bit. Because when he's going good offensively, it seems like his whole game just prospers. And that makes sense. It happens all the time with athletes in every sport. When a guy's hitting 3-pointers or hitting his jump shot, I bet his defense is better because he's just so much more engaged in the game.
Totally. It's human nature. I'm with you. And look how, I love that Ellie De La Cruz. And it's like the minute he gets on, you're like, oh my God, here it goes. And it's,
dude, what an athlete, huh?
Oh, he's tremendous. I love that kid. And by the way, he so badly wants to learn English.
Yeah.
I love the kid, man. The kid's got a lot of flash. Dash.
Well, I just wrote a story on the PHLY website about how Rafael Marchand learned English.
Yes. Yeah. It was a great piece, by the way.
He listened to Kevin Hart and he watched Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. a lot of Europeans, when they learn English, they watch American film, American TV.
It seems like it'd be a really difficult way to learn a language. I've watched TV of other languages. It's hard. I don't know how you pick it up. I'm amazed that people do it.
Yeah, it's cool. All right.
I was just looking at stats and splits. This whole splitting up, Trey may lead off during certain, against left-handers. His splits, he had a good season last year. He bat to 292 or 303, depending on the batter. I don't understand why I can't fathom why he's just not the leadoff man.
I think there's a good chance he ends up being the leadoff man still. I mean, they talked about it so much. It's hard to see them not at least giving it a shot at some point. I think he like I said, I think he might prosper. I think might get him be a little more selective, thinking like a leadoff man, use the whole field, use the middle of the field line drive. So he's a weapon. He's an offensive weapon. And he's had 3 exceptional pockets of production while he's been here. He had the post standing O, and then he had early last season, and right after the injury, he was pretty good too. It was the last 2 months he nosedived. But we've seen it over the course of his career what a dynamic offensive player he can be, and we've seen it in pockets here. We just haven't seen it consistently here. He hasn't been the offensive player or the defensive player that he was in previous stops before getting to Philadelphia. And they need him to be because he's here for 9 more years.
Yeah.
Now, I will say this, if I can segue, and this is something that's been talked about a lot, I do think he ends up in the outfield at some point during his next 9 years here. And I think a lot of that, or some of that, is maybe connected to what they see out of this kid Aiden Miller this year and how they can gauge his ability to stay at shortstop long term, and how they can gauge his potential ETA to the majors. So you might see, to me, it was a significant piece of news this past week when it was determined that Justin Crawford would go to AAA at age 21. He's going to play center field there. You can see kind of a long-range plan if guys produce that, Crawford could be in center field in a year. Miller could be at shortstop in a year. That could mean Trey Turner's in left field. But Brandon Marsh is going to have a big say in it. Maybe he, holds off Crawford. So there's a lot of, you can kind of see a grand plan here, and internal competition is a great thing. And hey, this team is, a lot of these guys are north of 30. A lot of these guys are 31, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, Wheeler's going to be 35 in May. Real Muto just turned 34. Harper and Turner are both north of 30. It's really going to be necessary for them to start funneling some younger players in here before long. And Crawford and Miller could be those guys, and it would have a domino effect at other spots.
Have to.
Jimmy, before you leave, I mean, you're my favorite food guy Which new item are you more excited about down at the ballpark? The red velvet affogato, the s'mores quesadilla, or the chicken cutlet, the Kyle's chicken cutlet sandwich?
What's on the chicken cutlet sandwich?
It's topped with burrata cheese, fried pepperoni, and arugula, drizzled with a sweet and spicy hot honey sauce.
Oh, that sounds a little fancy for me.
Fried pepperoni.
Well, I do like red velvet, but I probably would go for something more.
Sounds like you're going
savory.
with the s'mores quesadilla.
No, that's too sweet. It would either be the chicken cutlet or the red velvet, but I'm probably the chicken cutlet. I guess I would give that a try.
I'm a little underwhelmed at the new items this year.
What's the red velvet?
It's a red velvet cookies, vanilla ice cream, and espresso.
Okay.
Ooh, that's a little that's I don't know. I think I'm going chicken cutlet actually. But I like it the old school way. I like it,
Jimmy wants a hot dog.
I want a little marinara. I want a little
sandwich.
mozzarella,
Fenway sausage sandwich.
No, the Fenway sausage sandwiches are the greatest.
It's a solid one.
Right?
Oh,
the
yeah.
sausage and peppers.
Right outside on Yorkie Way. They were on Jersey Street. It used to be Jersey Street. Then it became Yorkie Way. Now it's Jersey Street again. So
that's a great sausage and peppers. Great.
Yeah.
It's a great sandwich. But like you're doing it ballpark. You want more ballparky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Red velvet. I'm not a fan of these.
The red velvet. No good.
I like I love the cheeseburger up at Citi Field. Good cheeseburger.
Really?
You notice how Jimmy leaned into the microphone?
Yeah,
too?
he got
I
excited
like
with
this
that.
cheeseburger.
It's a good burger? Is it?
Yeah, it's that Pat LaFrida's pretty good.
Oh yeah, that's a great burger. That's a tasty item.
And then of course you can go across a few blocks away to Mama's.
Yes. That's great. Yeah, you're right. Oh my God. My brother, great stuff. We'll be talking to you again this week to get our baseball extravaganza. But needed a little bit of check-in today. Warm us up with the cold weather.
Yeah, it's one of those days. You look out the window. This is awful days when you're a kid. I hated these days.
I'm with you, buddy. Thanks, brother. You're the best. Jimmy Steaks.
Yeah. Steaks.
You look like him?
You and your doodles.
Looks pretty good. It looks like him. I'm a doodler sometimes. Like I just need to.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah, so you just think while you doodle.
Yeah, it's
I'm
funny.
with you. I get it.
Coming up, Coach Fish, who I love. I just love hanging out with him. I just want to talk basketball, and he's a great character on the show. I love him. We had him last week to preview the tournament. Any which way to talk to Coach Fish.
Maybe he's got an
basketball.
answer for Florida for the 1-3-1.
Yeah, well, I want to talk to him about that. I want to talk to him about what he saw for the tournament, about the mid-majors, how tough it is right now with the portal, what he likes about what he saw this weekend. So a lot of good hoop talk coming up with Coach Fish. Let's talk a little bit about our friends, shall we? Hit us up with a little Rite Aid.
Oh, I'd love to, because if you can hear my voice, my allergies are flaring up. A little congested, got that itchy throat. So Rite Aid is here for you as allergy season kicks into high gear. You got pollen from trees and grasses and weeds are all starting to fly around in the air, get in your nose. Boom. Your body starts releasing these antihistamines or these histamines. Try and fight it off. So what can you do to give yourself some relief from those itchy, watery eyes, the itchy throat, the wheeze and all that? Well, first of all, to help yourself out, sign up for our Rite Aid Rewards emails. RiteAid.com/rewards to receive emails and allergy alerts in your area, such as like when the pollen counts are high. They'll give you a holler. You can also head to Rite Aid for some over-the-counter options. They got nasal rinses to flush out those nasal passages. They got antihistamines to get the histamines under control, such as Claritin and Zyrtec. And you can also try the nasal corticosteroid sprays like Flonase and Nasacort. And you can save a little bucks and use Rite Aid brand in these steroid sprays and these antihistamines. They work just as well. Save you some bucks. Still not enough? You can ask a Rite Aid pharmacist if maybe there's a different type of medication, like a decongestant. Maybe that'll be necessary. So you can always ask your Rite Aid pharmacist for more recommendations on ways to get relief during this incoming allergy season.
All right, let's talk about Parks Casino. We're going to be, we were there all weekend, Thursday and Friday.
Johnny Marks was out there Saturday doing a little show out there.
Yeah, it was great. Let's get the bug up and bot. Here it is.
Yeah.
It was so much
Food
fun.
was good.
The place was hopping.
It was hopping.
It
They had
was
a
the
human
sports book-
slot machine
The
going.
sportsbook was crazy.
Yeah.
It was just outrageous. All right. But if you can't get there for the rest of the tournament or the start of baseball, you got the Bet Park Sportsbook online casino app, which got you covered. Do me a favor, check out the where are the Phils for Thursday? Is it
Let me
open?
see if they got Thursday lines up.
All right. By the way, the futures on the NCAA, you got Duke is the favorite 2-1. 25 gives you 50. 25 on Florida gives you 68.75. 25 on Houston. Well, I like Houston. 112.50. 25 on Auburn. 125. And 25 on Tennessee brings back 350.
I think I saw Kentucky was 50-1, which, I don't know, throw $10 on it. And my Arizona Wildcats are 40-1.
Caleb Love is terrific. I love that kid. You want to talk about playing with like just he's got a eliteness about him.
Mm-hmm. So Phillies are minus 165 against the Nats on Thursday.
All right. I like
Nice,
the
healthy.
Phils.
Yeah.
There you go. The Bet Park Sportsbook online casino app. There's always a way to win, like live dealer blackjack and roulette and poker and all the hot online slots based on the movies we love, like Rocky and Ted and Goonies. You play your favorite slot machines based on the TV shows you love, Breaking Bad, Peaky Blinders. You got it all. New users get up to $1,000 casino bonus back if you're down the first 24 hours. BetParks.com has all the details. Just remember, you got to be 21. You got to be in PA, New Jersey, Michigan, Maryland, Ohio. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, now joining us, we love him. He's great to talk. I was telling him, like, dude, someday after you win 2 national titles, you'll be like Jay and you'll be on CBS. Is anybody
I
better?
can see that happening.
Is anybody better than Jay on CBS? Him and Barkley are the greatest.
He's made for national TV, Jay. He looks great on that show.
That's your future, Fish.
I'll take it. All right. Not all of us are going. I got to make sure I pulled this up correctly, right? Because you just won a championship, right? Didn't we talk about this? I want to make sure I get the name of the team right. I'm going to screw this up, right? St. Margaret's squad, right? You got a championship?
St. Margaret's, yes. Yes.
I should be asking you for baseline out of bounds plays. God dang it.
Yeah, I was going to say, I heard he had a really nice inbounds play.
I scored off it.
Yeah.
The greatest is I wanted to make his day, right? Because I wanted to make him laugh. I was like, dude, my inbound plays are getting stale. And so instead of drawing something up, which I could have done, right? I was like, what you got? Right off the bat, I got the crying, laughing emoji.
I'm sitting there, I'm drawing it on a piece of paper. I'm with my daughter who's 4. And I'm like, hey, is it for like this weekend? He's like, tonight would be great. You know, we got practice. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, move the Barbies out of the way. I got to figure out. And then I'm like, all right, how's your biggest kid? Who's your shooter? Who do they put on the inbounder? And he's like, yo, bro, it's like, come on. Like, just give me something to get the ball in. I got it.
You
Wait to be back.
You're going to love this. So we're up 2. It was like end of the game. I got usually I had my kid Cooper is the kid who takes the ball out. But I said instead of that, I'm going to have Cooper kind of on the I had them all stacked up, and I had Cooper kind of fake in and then go deep. And my son Massimo was a quarterback, right? So I'm like, you're going to take the ball out because they had a big kid protect on him, right? And so I'm like, Coop, you're going to go long. Moss, you're going to hit him. He's going to be open. And hits Coop down the line. It was great, right? We were able to seal it with the baseball pass down the line.
You and Kevin Willard just getting it done.
I saw it. I was cracking up.
That's it. He probably saw the clip of the game and took that, right? Love it. I love it. Dude,
it's the greatest, man. Like I love how your guys, how you coach, the mind of a coach for guys like us who are, fans and media people that love the X and O. I love it. Like whether it's football, baseball, or certainly hoops, the mind of the X and O is awesome. How you guys, is that you? I remember Andy Reid telling me this is his favorite part of the day was the X and O. Like he would watch tape, he have his notes, right? He hated the bureaucratic stuff. That was for another desk. I'm sure you're the same way.
I mean, I'm crazy. Like my desk is full of notebooks. So like one is like, all right, any plays I see in the NCAA tournament, I write here. This one's for the portal. My one to my left is all right, our defense, we got to get better. I'm like taking on all different things. And I like walk around with these notebooks like a lunatic, like all day. Like, ooh, what did he just run there? I can't rewind this. I'm like yelling at my TV yesterday. I want to see that BYU play again.
Yes, yeah. It's the great. It's so much fun. Yeah, it's the best, man. One of the things that I think stood out, certainly UConn against Florida, was the 1-3-1. Like I love that 1-3-1 zone because if you play correctly, it just messes you up. It messes teams up.
It's a challenge. So in our league, UAB plays a 1-3-1. And last year we were beating them at our place, like 19-15. They went to the 1-3-1 and we prepared for like 3 days, right? You're like, oh man, this looks great in practice. We're knocking down threes.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh crap, you forget they got 6'11", 6'10", 6'9", and you're like, can't get it over the zone, can't get it to the corner. I think it's something that disrupts you because not a lot of people do it. So it's something that's unique. And when you see it for the first time, no matter if you practice it or don't, it's especially with teams with length, it's a real challenge. It throws you off. I'll admit that. I think, again, it's like the Syracuse zone back in the day. Like I used to laugh and when I did the scout at Miami, I'd tell the team, hey guys, I feel really confident we're going to see zone. We got Syracuse on Monday. We're going to see zone. They don't get the joke. I'm like, that's all they play. Right. You got Coach Boeheim. But you couldn't simulate their length. Like their wings are 6'9", 6'10". So the passes you can make in practice just aren't available on Monday night on ESPN. So it presents challenges.
Well, John's matchup was the greatest. Like that matchup and how he got them to play it was unbelievable. Now, when he was rolling, and they were rough. Like you couldn't. That was a nightmare. That's why he would always win that second. Whether it was a Saturday or a Sunday, he would always win the second game because you had no time to prepare for
it. And he was so elite, right? If you look at those guys, their communication and the way they played. I mean, that's why he's a Hall of Famer. It was awesome, right? Like it's a great testament. Like you said, when you get to that next game, your preparation just totally changes. It's like, hey, first go to bed. Now we got to watch film. You're trying to teach your guys about the personnel, who can shoot, who goes left, who goes right. And now you're like, all right, here's how we're going to attack it. Oh, and by the way, here's a 1-3-1. Let's walk through it in a ballroom and try not to hit the chandelier and hit a server that's walking by. So it's like quick prep. But I think that, again, great credit to Coach Chaney. Great. I mean, they were really good all the time, but especially in that next game.
So one of the things that stood out to me, and I want to run this by it because it really looks like the death of the mid-majors or the death of Cinderella in a lot of ways because, you're in the portal and, these teams are building off of the mid-majors and those Butlers and, all those types of teams, George Mason that made those runs are getting plucked. And so you don't have those teams that are, 3 years, 4 years together where it was a lot of parity. You don't have that anymore because those guys are getting plucked.
I think I saw this. This is the first time ever that 4 conferences are represented in the Sweet 16. I mean, the Cinderella is Arkansas, right? Like, think about that for a second. Like, that's a Cinderella team.
Yeah.
And you're like,
Calipari.
Wait, what? Yeah. Again, Hall of Famer. And you look at his team and how he put it together with the guys. Again, it's tough. Like you watch that Maryland game yesterday and they're playing Colorado State and you're like, come on, we need one team to get through there. But it's changed. The landscape has totally changed. And it starts with, again, some of the numbers and how you get there, right? When you're going to have 14 teams from one league, like we talked about last time, whatever it is, get in, it's going to change this landscape. And it's hard. Like, I love seeing the George Mason's teams and hearing Coach L talk about, that run. And we were at Miami on the flip side in Loyola, Chicago, right? And Sister Jean took us down in the first round.
Yeah.
He killed us. We thought we had the game won. They hit a tough 3 at the buzzer in the first round, and then they went on to make that run. And again, now you're watching it and you're thinking, man, Arkansas is at 10, and like that's the Cinderella. And the amount of number 1s, 2s, 3s that got in and 4s it's changed. It changed. It's still great basketball. It's still great teams, but
it's fantastic basketball. Yeah.
We want we want an underdog, especially in Philadelphia, right? We love when it's like the underdog story and it's a story of our city. Like, all right, great, let's go take on these powerful teams. So it's changed, and I hope we can get back to seeing more mids get in the tournament. To be honest,
I think there's almost more context now. I think Cinderella had caught up, right? Like there was a lot of parity, and now it's back to like, hey, when you see an upset, it's going to mean something because it's going to be a true upset.
Well, and if you look at it, right, like we played FAU, and I look at where their best players went, right? Vlad Golden is at Michigan in the Sweet 16, right? Then you got the kid who goes to Arkansas. He's in the Sweet 16. Like they had Nick Boyd go to San Diego State, and I'm missing a third guy. Oh, Martin, who's at Florida.
Yeah.
Like as soon as you have success at this level, your team is pop, 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 pop today, right? Today is, I added a new season. Usually it's the off season, preseason, non-conference, conference, postseason. Now it's portal season. And it's just, that's what it is. Who played? And now all eyes are on this tournament. So if you play well in this tournament on that first or second day, you're going to get a call, and you're going to get a call from a high major school. And that's how it works.
How do you handle the high school recruiting? And are you focused as much on that, or or do you see that kind of going to where they're going to have to go to junior college because it's not going to count, and from there kind of make their way in, unless they're elite?
Yeah, I think it's certain teams. It's a great question, right? And what's your approach? Everybody wants to stay old, get old, get old. For us, I want a combination. I want some really good high school kids, and we try to recruit from great programs where they're well coached. We have a kid coming in from IMG in Westtown. Like, I know they're well coached. They got good discipline. They know how to play the game. And then you hope they have a great year, and then you hope they don't go in the portal after they have a great year. Yeah. But it's the risk you got to have, right? Like somebody said to me, man, if your freshmen play so well, then they're going to want to leave. I'm good with that, meaning I'll take that risk. We got to go recruit high school kids and give them a great experience. And then we got to mix in the portal and the returners. It's like, it's insane. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's insane, but we're all dealing with it. Every school.
It is. Hey, we were talking about this earlier. What did you see from Florida UConn? Because it looked like Florida struggled with ball pressure, like especially in the half court and getting into their offense. Is that an Achilles heel?
No, I agree. I think UConn's pressure and first off, that championship DNA, say what you want, like Coach Hurley. I mean, come on, like what he's done is awesome. Those guys know what it takes. And I thought watching that game, you hit it right on the head. That pressure changed it. And again, great credit to Walter Clayton Jr. Like he hits that 3. He missed that. It's a 2-point game, and that was contested. But I thought that pressure really gave Florida a little bit of a struggle. So you wonder, like, obviously everybody's going to watch that game probably 5 times as you're getting ready to play in the next round. So what does that change your approach as they get ready? They have Maryland, I think, next, right? So how does Maryland approach that and with their pressure? And then you look at what did Colorado State do to Maryland, right? On the flip side, like, hey, this is a buzzer beater away on a crazy tough shot, travel or no travel, right? That sends you to the next round. So it's a great chess match, and it's going to be some awesome games. But I think that's a great point you brought up about the pressure.
How about Duke? I mean, geez, they're just scary. I know they're playing in their backyard. Say whatever you want, but with Proctor, if Proctor shoots the way he does like that, they're unbeatable.
Oh, unbelievable! I mean, what did they win by? It was like 30 something the first game, and then the only team to kind of blow somebody out the next game. I think they're really good. I think they're just so talented, and I've watched them play not well and look really good, if that makes any sense. You're like,
Yeah.
wait, I watched them play some of the games in their league. And I'm like, oof, they're only up 9. Next thing you know, they're up 27, right? And I think they have those kill shot runs. They can go on a 10-0 run like that. And it's like not just once a game, but like you might see that 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
And I think you got to try to limit their runs because they can go in transition. Like you said, Proctor knocking down threes like that. So you got to limit their momentum. And I think they're feeling good, right? You look at teams who feels good about how they played. Like they got to feel really good about what they did the first weekend.
Yeah, and Flag is all that. Like he's not. People go, well, is he really that good? Yeah, the kid.
Yes,
he really is that good. That kid just does everything, man. The way he sees the floor it's unbelievable. It's for a freshman to see the floor like that. I love watching that kid play ball.
At his size with his handles, I mean, it's like you said, I love watching him. Like when I watch the Duke game, I'm trying to be a fan. Like, man, I want to enjoy greatness. And that's what we're seeing.
Yeah. Houston, I like Houston. I think Houston, I know they're a little trouble at the end, but I like Houston. I thought that they're legitimate. Ole Miss, I think, is legit because they have really good guard play. They're veteran. Those kids are older. And they're strong. They're strong with the basketball.
Really good. You know, we played Ole Miss last year here. And we were out 2 starters, and we missed a shot that would have won it at the buzzer. I got great respect for Coach Beard. Like we played him, and then they add, the kid from Virginia Tech, I think Padula, who's just super skilled. I've played against him in the past. Like
He's have all stones, that kid too.
Yes, he does. He wants the big shot. He will take it and look at the result. But I think they got, I think what you just said, I think they got this swag about them. Like they take the court and they're like, we're going to come in here and kick your butt. Like that's how I think they approach every game and think they're the best team out there. But I thought they were really, really impressive. And same, Houston's, man, I mean, the way they defend and guard. Now it's hard for me to go against Coach Painter because I've played him several times in the Big Ten and they're really freaking good. Their guard play right now is elite. So I think that Houston-Purdue is going to be big time game. I think that's what I hope I got that right.
Yeah.
But I think that'll be a big time game. But you're right about Ole Miss, man. That swag is. I joked with someone. It reminded me of like the Miami football teams back in the day when they were winning national championships out there. That little the U swag.
They did. And look, Michigan State struggled with New Mexico yesterday. New Mexico played them tough. I think I like Ole Miss in that game. I think I think they're a tough matchup for them.
I do. I think New Mexico is really good, right? So we obviously got a player from there. So I watched them a little bit to see. Mashburn Jr. came from there. I thought they were really good. And again, growing up for me, it's like Tom Izzo is the man. When I was a manager at Penn State, he would be the first guy off the bus. Right. So I'm a manager at Penn State. Tom Izzo, they come in for a shoot around and he'd be the first guy at the bus. And I'd be like the manager with my shirt tucked in and opening the door, making sure the towels, the water, everything you need, Mr. Izzo. And he would talk to me for like 5 minutes. And I was like just in awe. And then to start the game, he'd shake all the coaches' hands and I would sit at the very end of the bench. He would walk all the way down every time and shake my hand. Hey kid, good luck tonight. And I was like, this dude is like,
he's the best.
He's Bobby Knight, like, right? I grew up, I'm like, this is Tom Izzo. So Tom Izzo this time of year is pretty damn good.
Yeah, he's a gentleman. Like I covered the beginning of his runs when they had the Flintstones, the kids from Flint. I covered that. I covered that whole run. That was his first kind of foray into it, like where he's just the best, man. What a gentleman. That was late 90s.
You were in middle school when you covered it? It was for the
Hey, Coach, you bring up your time as a manager. We saw a manager flourish this weekend, become a Cinderella story. Have you heard from your team manager? They got big aspirations. They trying to get a gimmick so they can get front and center when you guys come out?
It's funny. I had more texts from guys I was managers with at Penn State being like, what the hell did we do wrong?
Right.
And I'm looking at these deals he's getting. First off, I was scrawny. I don't think I could lift that boombox that he walks out there with, first off. But how cool is that? I mean, like that's what makes this tournament so fun. It's everybody's behind him, right? This is someone that nobody ever heard of.
Nobody.
3 days ago, and now he's like the biggest thing. He's in the transfer portal. He might be getting some new NIL deals to go to NC State. Like, this is insanity to me, but it is awesome. It's what makes our sport great and unique this time of year. But I'm hoping to get a couple of our guys, with some of your leads here, sending them the NIL deals from your show here. Let's go.
Let's do it. Yeah. Listen, we're right here. We're on Spring Garden, right off of Spring Garden Street, off the 10th and Spring Gardens. We're close. All right, you send them down here, man.
I got to get you something for the backdrop, though. Like, I'm into like little things. My desk up here is full of them. I'm gonna send something. I got to get you something Temple back there.
I'm down.
Set.
I am down. Hey, last one, Fish. What's your read on? Because I love this game, Kentucky, Tennessee. Is a great game.
I wanted to ask him about Kentucky. Good.
Yeah.
It's I think it's a great matchup. I'll even rewind a little bit. Think about some of the coaching changes this offseason, right? So you leave Kentucky, you go to Arkansas, you're in the Sweet 16. New coach comes from BYU to take over Kentucky, Sweet 16, BYU, Sweet 16. Like, it's crazy. Sometimes change is needed, and the fact, I think that's going to be a hell of a game. I really do. I think the way Coach Barnes, the way they'll defend, and the way they can score, I think Kentucky has just been awesome all year. They got some high-octane offense. They can get it going from three. They got guys that can drive down. Otega Owe can get to the basket in like 3 seconds. I think it's going to be a heck of a game. Really fun game to watch.
Yeah, they really play defensively well. Kentucky's my sore spot. They look great. They're flashy. My bracket lives and dies with Kentucky. And I'm ready to die with them. But
I like Tennessee. I love
Kentucky's playing well. They have 14 steals the other day. They're playing well defensively. Yeah. So, and me and Rick Barnes, we know the best background. I'm all about Kentucky in this. And I like the Mark Pope story. First year in Kentucky. It's a lot of pressure that gig.
It is. I'm curious of when you look at, as a coach, when you look at Danny Hurley and his way, how do you feel about that?
The best advice I got from Jim Larrañaga was be yourself. And I think, Coach Hurley is one of the greatest to do it, and he's being himself. And that might fit there, but might not fit somewhere else.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
And I think you got to be who you are, and you got to embrace it. And I think, and that's going to come with some viral moments and whatever you want. But I think he's him, right? I think he's who he is. And I think that's so important. And again, you're either going to love him or hate him, right?
Yeah. I think that's good for college basketball, to be honest with you. I think stuff like that is great. Like, you need coaches provide you guys are almost characters in the play, in the great play. You're more than basketball coaches. You're the part of this whole thing.
Think about our Philadelphia Eagles. How much time did they spent on Nick Sirianni?
Yes.
Even when he got the job, to the press conference, to the fan. And he was who he is. And I think how you know who you are when you see your players' support.
Yes.
Dudes at UConn and the Eagles will run through a brick wall because he knows I'm going to coach you hard, but I love you. I love you, and I got your back. And I think that's important.
You're the best, man. I do. I love just talking ball with you.
I'm getting excited about them. I've been reading up about Cam Wallace coming out of Westchester. Yeah, ready to see him play.
Cam Wallace, we're ready to go. And I told you guys, we're going to have you courtside. We're going to get you there. First game of the year. I don't know when it is yet. Our schedule is nowhere near done. But once we get through the portal and have a team, I'll let you know what we got.
Sounds great, brother. You're the best,
buddy. You guys are the best. You're the best. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it. There he is, Fish, Coach Fisher. Adam Fisher. He's terrific.
4-star recruit coming.
Yeah, I know. I love him. He's a great dude. Great basketball man. I love talking hoops with him. All right, time now for the Rite Aid back in the day moment.
All right, yeah, we'll do some Rite Aid. We're going back. We're going back. We're going back in the day with Rite Aid. Yeah! I don't know why this was floating around this weekend, but it's 1979. Eagles fan.
At the vet.
At the vet.
I saw it.
It's a blast.
It's great. Get ready to watch this, bot. This is life in Philadelphia. What?
1979?
Yeah. 40, almost 50 years ago. Blue laws.
And losing football.
Look at the pretzels. The guy with the dirty fingernails giving pretzels out. A little bit of OT coming up, by the way. Look at that guy. Look at the fight. The fight's the bench. The roll the back.
It's a haymaker.
Oh my God. That's what. And you know what? I used to think that was normal.
Oh, yeah, right. That's what it was. Yeah.
Like the fighting.
Yeah.
I thought fighting was normal in society.
Right.
Like that you threw down, like whatever, like it happened.
It happens. It's fine.
You had a disagreement, and then you would fight.
Yeah.
And then you sometimes hug it out, sometimes not, right? Like,
yeah.
And then I left and went to Chicago.
Yeah.
Which is a hard city, right?
Sure.
Big city, whole thing. And then I started to travel around the country, and I spent 300 nights a year on the road. And all of a sudden, I'm going, yeah, no, people don't fight anywhere else.
People don't.
Like, I'm sure they got into scrapes here and there, but not with the prevalency of Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Like in Philadelphia, like the amount of fights. Do you remember the opening days coming up, right? Do you remember the great fight between the schools, the high schools?
No.
You remember this spot
on opening day?
It was, I don't know, it was right around opening day in the stands.
Oh.
Who was it?
I don't remember this one either.
No.
Like high school kids?
Yeah, it was either like Bonner.
Oh, yeah.
I forget it. I forget it. Was a bunch of kids.
Yeah, you didn't even have. You knew it was going to be Philadelphia Catholic schools too. It was just going to be Judge and Bonner and Pratt. They were just going to throw hands.
Bro remembers
Bonner and Pratt.
Bonner and Pratt.
He remembers anything Prep. He remembers.
And they had the big brawl, and that's what it was. And then but the idea of fighting, like we're showing this in the game. I remember being at covering Eagles games at the Vet.
Right.
And the security wore yellow jackets.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Easy to see, highly visible.
Right. And then like during the course of a game, you would all of a sudden hear like a murmur during it could be like during the play was over, right? TV timeout type of thing. There's a murmur. And you look into one of the corners of the stadium, and there would be a skirmish, a fight.
Yeah.
And then you would see the yellow jackets
swarm
like bees. Yeah. They look like bees, and they would swarm, and and the malice.
The last Eagles game I went to was a playoff game, and the guy who came to the seat next to me was a little late. I was a little swollen. He got into a fight in the parking lot.
Are you serious?
Yeah, before walking into a playoff game.
This past year?
Yeah, I went to the first round game. I forget who they played, but yeah, guy sat next to me.
The Packers game?
Yeah, his eye was all popped out.
Like how nuts? Like it's still happening.
It's still happening. Yes.
How crazy.
The fact that he said, you know what, I just got in a fight. I still got to go watch the Birds play, though. He just went to his seat and watched the game.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's just part of life.
Yeah. And we're in the seats, and people are like, hey, you're on Twitter. Like the fight, someone got the fight in the parking lot on Twitter and circulating.
Oh, my God. It's insane. I never thought. It usually doesn't happen anywhere else.
No.
Well, you know what I mean. Like the civility piece of it's different.
Yeah, for Phillies news, Cody Clemens is your 26th man. They've gotten some trade-ins for some Buddy Kennedy, so they may try to move him. Can we do 3 things that came up over the weekend I think are cool?
Yeah.
For Nugs? Cool. In the overtime? Yeah, we're in the overtime.
I like the overtime
goal
goal.
horn.
I said it during the back in the day we were going overtime.
Yeah, we got to get used to it. We got to work the horn in.
I like the horn.
Yeah. So we're getting glimpses of a goalie of the future. I saw a video from Russia.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Zavragin. There's it's starting to circulate.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
Let me see Zavragin.
Yeah. I think you get another angle of it too from this shot. Ooh, covering going post to post.
Look at that. He's what, 20
Splayed
years
out. I think he's 19 or 20. Yeah.
Zavragin.
We had history made in South Philly. Wells Fargo Center had the NCAA Championship Wrestling.
What a great story.
Carter Starocci, 5-time champ with the COVID eligibility. No one's probably ever will beat this now. So he's a 5-time NCAA champ.
That was good stuff. Stands alone.
Stands alone.
It's pretty cool, man.
Super cool.
Yeah. It's a good line.
Yeah, it's all right. Yeah, it's all right. And one more. A friend of Philly, Jason Worth. You know, he had a horse, won the Belmont last year,
Yes.
10% owner. He's got another horse this year. And this weekend, it just qualified for the Kentucky Derby.
Really?
Yeah.
What's it
geez.
called?
It's called, I have it written, Flying Mohawk.
Flying Mohawk?
Yeah, so this is him watching it.
Going to the Derby. That's
Going to the
awesome.
Derby. Yeah, good for him.
I got to get my boys too.
Money finds money.
They really. They're big horse guys.
Oh,
Hooch
yeah?
and Boo. Yeah. Yeah, they love it. All right. That's good stuff. You got my Kevin McGonigal home run?
Oh,
All right, so
yeah.
Listen, I love this kid. I'm trying to get him on the show. He's a little busy, but we're going to get him at some point, probably this week, from Bonner, Delaware County. Kevin McGonigal, shortstop for the Tigers. He takes Nola deep with a bomb. Look at this. Way to go. Hard worker, the kid. Kid's beautiful.
Good man.
Yeah.
Hope he finds success in the big leagues.
Yeah.
And if I can give you one stat with Nola on that pitch, because Jim brought up how he kind of scouted him and said, hey, he throws a lot of first pitch fastballs. Aaron Nola, last year, 66% first pitch strike. His career, 65.8. Major League Baseball average is about 61. So he loves to pump first pitch fastball and first pitch strike and get ahead.
Yes.
That's the way guys jump on him, right? Is
Yes.
early in the count, first pitch.
That's what he gives up. When you see the rash of home runs, they're always early in the count.
Mm-hmm.
That's the truth. Because you're sitting, you go, all right, and that fastball, if you catch part of the plate, you know what? I mean, that's the pitch to hit.
Yeah, a lot of times when he misses in.
Yeah.
As opposed to like guys who miss up and away or down and away. He misses in the zone a lot.
Yeah, that's exactly right. All right, that's going to do it for us. Bot, great job. You have fun?
Nice work, Tyler.
Yeah, this was great.
Awesome.
Loved it.
Yeah, a lot of fun. Bot, you got Phillies duties coming up?
Yeah, coming up at 1 o'clock today, live show, 1 to 1:30.
Nice.
Philly season.
Tyler, that's right. But Bot knows baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Bot is terrific covering baseball. So
absolutely,
we're excited to have the Bot on the Phillies doing some good nerd stuff, which I love. All right, we're gonna nerd out.
Nerd out.
Yeah. I'll be on your show.
I'll nerd out tonight.
You let me know when.
I'll be bugging you to come on and talk Phillies. Everybody, have a great day. We love you. All right. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. As always, support our shows. We appreciate it. All right. We love you. We'll see you tomorrow.
We all silly like the mayor.